Since it's the summertime, as well as it's never too early for a mock draft 2022 version over at Tankathon. We're gonna go through some of the highlights, as well as I believe this is 3 rounders, so we'll see who the Minnesota Fighting Vikings take, and of course, this early in draft season, we don't know all the names. There's a full football season, full normal football season coming up. So, of course, a lot of these guys are going to fall. A lot of new guys are going to rise. So, guys that could be in the first round and the top 10 and top 5 and maybe even the number 1 overall pick, we may have never even heard of him. I'm really good at words right now. Like, at this time last year, Zach Wilson was a smallish, often injured dude who played at BYU. That was it. Not the future number 2 overall pick. Of course, we knew who Trevor Lawrence was, as well as Justin Fields and Trey Lance as well. But we're going to go through, and I'll be honest, I really don't know a lot of these players, even the first round guys, outside of the top tier names, outside of the quarterbacks, as well as, ironically, who the Vikings take. So let's get into this. Number 1, Sam Howell, the University of North Carolina. He and Dynami Brown and company, they have a really good offense. I really like what Mac Brown is doing at UNC. So Sam Howell, now he's going to get the Mitchell Trubisky ponder flack, but no, I think Sam Howell is a legit quarterback. Does he go 1? Am I ready to pencil him in as 1? I don't know. I really don't, because I really do like me some Spencer Rattler. Of course, I love me some Desmond Ridder. I disagree with him returning to school, mainly because if he would have declared for 2020, I think that he would have been right where the Vikings picked Kellen Mond at 66, but it's beside the point. But if he can come back and become a first-round pick, more power to him. Absolutely. Plus, the way that Cincinnati's season ended last year after just a great run, I think that they feel they have some unfinished business, so it makes sense. But Spencer Rattler... Actually, let's go through the quarterbacks. Spencer Rattler goes 6 to the Eagles, where they potentially could be looking for a rebuild, even though they're going to give Jalen Hurts and company a year this season. But Spencer Rattler at 6, and they also have the first-round pick from the Dolphins, so they take Zach Harrison, the edge rusher from the Ohio State University. But Desmond Ridder goes 16 to the Broncos, where if it doesn't work out with Teddy and it's not going to work out with Drew Lock, taking a quarterback in the first round would make sense. Kedon Slovis, where... So... I wish that his name was pronounced Kedon, because it would be Pedon for Kedon, like suck for luck. That'd be great. It would be great. But Slovis had a phenomenal 2019 season as a true freshman. 2020, But I think that he can step up. I think that he has elite anticipation. I think that he's going to make a really good professional quarterback. So he goes to Washington, and they'll have a year if it's tragic. They'll have a year of Taylor Heineke, so that's whatever. And then... So the Saints at 19, where the experiment with Jameis Winston and company, that's not going to work out. It's whatever. Taysom Hill's, by the way, he's sneaky old. I think Taysom Hill's going to be 33, but actually might be 32. Doesn't matter. But Malik Willis is the best kept open secret right now in college football. Playing at a small school, Liberty, but he's got the arm. He's got athletic skills for days. He's going to be a really intriguing prospect coming into next year's draft. He may ascend. Like Malik Willis right now, he might end up being the Zach Wilson of next year. We really don't know. Then there's one other quarterback. Oh, JT Daniels. There you go. So him coming out now, I believe he was a redshirt sophomore. He could have declared last year, but Daniels did some really good things at Georgia. I mean, Georgia is really turning into a factory. They have first-round picks all over this draft, first 3 rounds as well. But JT Daniels going to the Lions, of course. They get this pick from the Rams, and no, they're not sold on Jared Goff long-term. So getting a guy who's actually going to be their guy in Green Bay, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, but the Vikings... So they put the Vikings at 14, which, no, disrespectful, but what do you expect from the National Media haircuts? But taking George Karlaftis. Now, he's a name that you may not know because he had a pretty marginal 2020, but I believe he was a freshman All-American. He had like 7-8 sacks as a true freshman in West Lafayette. So he's a guy that really could explode his junior year this season, but he's got size. You see 6'4", 270, can set the edge as well. And so the Vikings, even though they took Patrick Jones, even though they took Janarius Robinson, even though they have Weatherly back on a 1-year deal, even though I believe in DJ Wanham, maybe they're betting, okay, so either Danielle Hunter, he doesn't have it anymore, or the Vikings will have to cut or trade him. One of the two. But they go edge of 14. Also, what's really interesting and sexy, well, sexy for Andre Patterson and Mike Zimmer if they're still around, is that the Vikings go edge again. Nick Bonito, where Bonito, so at Oklahoma last year, when you're watching film of Ron Perkins, Bonito really stood out, like opposite of him, and he was just a beast. He just gets after it, and he is the pure speed rusher. And I don't think that the Vikings would go 1-2 edge again, especially after taking Patrick Jones, especially after taking Janaris and having Wanham on board. But those are two really good players. But I don't think Bonito is going to fall this far. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season in Norman this year. I think he'll find his way into the first round, and he'll just get after it. Yeah, like 46, I mean, that's wishful thinking. We'll go through the Vikings picks here. Third round, Sheridan Jones, the nice cornerback from Clemson. So Zimmer goes defense, if he's still the head coach of the Vikings. Because honestly, if the Vikings end up picking 14 again, I think Zimmer would be a pretty significant dog to be coach of the Vikings. I think that would be a really rough go of it for him. But Kayvon Thibodeau, the huge edge rusher from Oregon, going to the Lions, where, man, the Lions go Oregon. They get Penei Sewell as well as Thibodeau, guys used to practice against each other every single day. I mean, he is just a stud. He's just right. He could play in the NFL right now. He could play in the NFL coming straight out of high school. Not many guys can do that. Derek Stingley Jr., he's been one of the best cornerbacks in the game. He helped the Tigers win the national title in 2019 as a true freshman. He's absolutely dynamite. Then this is disgusting. So Evan Neal, 6'7", 360, and then you have a guy the size of Mekhi Becton. Those are going to be your bookend tackles for Zach Wilson. Baby, you got a stew going. The Jaguars picking up Kyle Hamilton, a.k.a. The new wave Harrison Smith, to be, 6'4", 219. That's a linebacker, baby. Man, and that speed, I love it. Spencer Rattler, like we mentioned, he goes to the Eagles. So now, what happens to Jalen Hurts? Chris Olave goes to the Raiders. Unfortunately, they're going to ruin him. Let's see who else here. Desmond Ridder, we mentioned. Garrett Wilson, the other Ohio State University wide receiver, goes to the Patriots. Josh Jobe, who I really like as in the secondary, goes to Dallas. Unfortunately, he's going to be ruined. Aiden Hutchinson. Oh, the Jets. Jets are back at it again, because remember, they still have another first-round pick from the Seahawks because of the stupid Jamal Adams trade, which is just hilarious. It's just really good. Justin Ross. So the Packers finally go first-round wide receiver in a spot where Aaron Rodgers might not even be around, which is funny. But Justin Ross, they reunite him with his Clemson teammate. What's his name? T. Martin's kid. Doesn't matter. And then Kenyon Green. Kenyon Green's going to be a really good player. And just already scouting the interior offensive lineman for next year's class, Kenyon Green is going to be a stud. Just going to be an absolute stud. Bubba Bolden goes. Cade Mays goes to the Chiefs. Of course, they're going to be adding offensive line. And now the Texans, this makes sense. Tyler Linderbaum, they haven't really replaced Nick Martin at center. So Linderbaum, who's great as an outside zone guy, he's solid in pass protection as well, is certainly light. Could certainly stand to add a little bit of weight, but that's what happens with Iowa offensive linemen. They're going to be zone guys. They're going to be a little bit undersized, but Linderbaum is a really true blue leader of men. And him protecting Sam Howell, they can be the battery for a long time. Yeah, go ahead. Breece Hall. Ooh, I like this one, man. So Breece Hall, if you don't know him, he finished sixth in the Heisman last year, put up a bajillion yards. He was the reason why Kene Nwangu didn't really get the time of day in Ames, Iowa. But Breece Hall with the Falcons, with Arthur Smith, and you saw what he did with Derrick Henry. I like it, man. Breece Hall isn't the power runner that Derrick Henry is, but that's a lot of fun. They still don't have a quarterback. Well, who they taking for? Oh, they took a defensive line in the first round. Yeah. Darren Kendrick, the former wide receiver, converted to cornerback. He transferred, didn't he? I don't think he's going to Clemson. I mean, something that I love about the transfer portal is that it's wide open because it basically is free agency for college players. But I never liked it where college players had to sit out a year if they transferred within their division. Division 1A, Division FCS, FBS, whatever. But coaches could leave just like that. So you can have a player where a coach recruits you to school. He leaves to take a better job, and you're stuck. Either you have to honor your scholarship. They can pull your scholarship because it goes year to year. Or if you want to transfer to a same school in a FBS or FCS, you got to sit out a year. No, it's stupid. No. Other than that, no. Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis would have been a really solid defensive tackle in this year's draft, except he went back to school. It's all good. A lot of guys surprisingly went back to school this year, where they would have probably been pretty high draft picks. Like Haskell Garrett's another one of them, where Haskell Garrett probably would have been in the Tyler Shelvin area, maybe even higher than Shelvin. But he decided to come back for another year. But I mean, it's all their decision, and they did what's best for them, best for their family, and you gotta respect it. Fry Vogel, ooh, I love it, man. I love it. So, Zion Johnson. Zion Johnson was my very early 2021 draft crush, man. Boston College, they got something special going on up there on the offensive line, and I think Zion, he's projected as a third-round pick. I could have seen him going early second round. Like, I think that he would have been up there with the Aaron Bankses of the world, but went back to school. Thought, was there talk about him being a grad transfer? But yeah, whatever. But falls to the third round. The Giants definitely need an offensive lineman. Will Hernandez is not working out, so yeah, there you go. But the Vikings, I don't see them going defense. If it comes down to it this year, especially if they're drafting at 14, because I think Zimmer would be fired. So I think in the first round, let's see who else is on the board. So they go Karlaftis, where it's fine, but they're probably not going to go quarterback. Although, I mean, Mond is only a third-round pick. So do they take a Desmond Ridder and just have him compete with Mond? And do they cut or trade Kirk Cousins? Maybe. Do they take a guy like Garrett Wilson to pair up and be the future partner with Justin Jefferson as Adam Thielen starts to age out? Maybe. Do they triple down offensive line again? Maybe. But again, it's a long ways off, but it is fun to look at some of the names, start to be familiarized with who's going to be at the top of the draft next year, the big-time quarterbacks. And even though you're having these massive drafts of quarterbacks and wide receivers, there's still such a demand because it's a passing league, and you just are always trying to find that guy who can be your future franchise quarterback or be a true blue wide receiver one in this league. So it's fun, man. It is absolutely fun. But your thoughts on our thoughts. Take a look at Tankathon's 2022 way too early 3-round mock draft. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.